quick break. Just to let you guys know, the book is out. My book is out, and I'm super excited. It's called Parents Are Greatest Teachers. It's on sale on Amazon, so you can now grab your copy. Do leave me a review on Amazon, comment, DM me if you have any questions, and let's keep on sharing our stories. And now, let's go back to our episode. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Alex Valgood, and this is Leap of Health. And we have today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Angeline Chen, and she is part of our guest on our 10-part series that we're doing. That it's in regards from healing to the path of success. So thank you, Angeline, for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, yeah, if you can share a little bit about yourself and your story and where you are now.
Sure. Thanks. Do you have 5 hours? I'm just kidding.
And
So
go.
just kidding. No, so I was born in Los Angeles, grew up here in kind of high school, college. I knew that I wanted to kind of I wanted to help people somehow. I did have a very healthy and nice upbringing with parents who are immigrants. My mom is from China and Taiwan, and my father is from Thailand, and they met here in the US. And, growing up with them and my grandma and my great grandma, I also had 2 other siblings. So there were 7 of us living in a house, and my mom worked at a shipping company. My dad was also at a shipping company, but later opened up or took over a pizza place in El Monte, which is in LA County. And I grew up in a pizza place, like working every weekend, making pizza. We had fried chicken, sandwiches, lasagna. I mean, it was so good. It's a delivery place. He ended up selling it, but it's still there. It's called Palermo's Pizza. I think I learned a lot about my work ethic during that time working for them, also knowing that to help the family. Like it wasn't required for me to help. My father and my mother wanted me to help, and I did. I stepped up and I said, I am going to help you. And they paid me a little bit, and that was great. But it's this obligation that you have, that's inferred for your family. So that kind of took me on on my journey to my career. So then, because of my my well upbringing, in not really struggling, and we were, they both worked really hard, but we didn't struggle financially. We didn't struggle financially, middle income. I knew that I had skills of, whatever, of communicating, confidence, whatever. I felt that I could do kind of whatever I wanted to do. And so I decided I want to help people. I want to help. It didn't have to be immigrants at the time, but I had this affinity towards the Latinx community. I had an interest in the culture. And I also was learning a lot about the inequities of immigrants, and learning about immigration policy. And I knew I wanted to do something with the Latinx community. And I thought, well, what better than to kind of go to law school, right? And be a lawyer. I mean, there are so many other ways, but that was kind of what drew me to that. Once I was there, I said, okay, now what do I do, right? I don't know Spanish. I but I can go learn it. So after I graduated from law school, I went to Guatemala and I took private lessons and I learned Spanish, and that is where I learned salsa. And that and Alex, that journey. So I loved the dancing. I love learning the Spanish. I came back, found the community in LA, And
Mm-hmm.
this was probably at like 2004, um, when I came back. Found this amazing salsa community, and was dancing like 3 times a week. Um, and then looking for a job. I was open to kind of like human rights, labor law, workers' rights, or immigration. And a good friend of mine sent me a job opening to a lawyer in LA, and he was an immigration attorney,
Mm-hmm.
and he mostly defended immigrants in deportation proceedings. So I joined him. His name was Alan Diamante, still around, super popular right now in LA. I joined him, and that was my start of immigration law. So that was like 2004 all the way till now. I ended up opening my own law firm after I
Mm-hmm.
left Alan. I had my own firm for 11 years. So having your own firm, being a lawyer, and having your own business is very challenging, very interesting, and it was really fun, but very challenging because you're a business person and you're a lawyer at the same time. And in law school, they never teach you business.
Mm-hmm.
They might do that more now, but at the time, they didn't really teach you how to run an office, how to bill clients, things like that, because the most people who went the law school that I went to large law firms where they don't have to do the actual administrative stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it was challenging, but I loved it. I loved it. So I had my practice for 11 years. Um, I then, met my husband, had a child, and I really wanted to be in a firm that could support me in the administrative side,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could also spend more time with my son. So I joined a firm, and then we all moved to another firm, which is the firm I'm at now, Clark Hill, which is a national law firm with over 1,000 people. So I'm in an immigration department of about 45 people.
Mm-hmm.
We all do immigration, really amazing. But that's my path in terms of my career. We could talk about my nonprofit work if you want later.
Yes, yes. Do you think having immigrant parents give you the good insight on what they go through, and for you to give you this passion to keep on helping immigrants that sometimes they might not have the resources to do certain things, especially when it comes to legal stuff?
Yeah, definitely. I think my parents, they did come in as students. At that time, it was not that difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Then my mom's sister petitioned them, which at that time was not that difficult. Now trying to get a US citizen sibling up to petition for another sibling, it's like 14 years. But at that time, it wasn't as difficult. Getting my grandma here, getting my great grandpa, but all of it was a process. But me, I think learning I majored in sociology in college, learning that,
Mm-hmm.
the unfairness of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How people are coming in with like the Bracero program, where they had the workers coming in from Mexico on working visas. And once it's over, they had to go back. It's just the inequities and the unfairness of how they treat people from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw that, and I saw the people were seeking asylum and all of that stuff. It just made me feel, and obviously Asians went through that too,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
people from a lot of countries.
Yeah.
It just made me feel that that's where maybe I could help.
Yeah. And how's the your nonprofit helping these people?
So yeah, so I now at this moment I'm mostly involved with a volunteer group that I formed called Rise to Reunite,
Mm-hmm.
which is a volunteer group. It was created in 2018 during the Trump administration's zero tolerance policy, when the federal government was separating children from their families at the border. I think you remember that in 2018, the news of like the kids being torn from the mama's breasts and just crying, and it just hundreds of them. And when that was happening, as an immigration attorney, And as a mother, I couldn't believe it was happening. Like I felt completely helpless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because who are these people? They were losing, the government was losing the data. They didn't have the information of where the kids are. They're even to this day, they're still looking for parents and kids. They're still trying to reunite families. So um, we decided as a group, which was actually formed in Pasadena, to support a legal services organization called El Otro Lado.
Mm-hmm.
We decided that we would fundraise for them. We would volunteer at the border in Tijuana, Tijuana, San Diego, and so that's what we started doing, and that's where I focus a lot of my work right now, all on the side, obviously. So I just came back last month. I just got back
Mm-hmm.
driving stuff down to the border and giving money to these migrant shelters that are in Tijuana. So the shelters are in Tijuana, housing a lot of asylum seekers trying to apply for asylum, trying to go through the port of entry, but they can't because it's closed even now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also people waiting for an immigration court hearing for asylum too. So there's just thousands of people there. They're basically refugee camps along the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. Mexico border. It's just so sad and overwhelming. And you think because we're in the Biden administration, it's so much better, but it really isn't.
Right.
It isn't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I mean, not to get into anything political over here,
Mhm.
but yeah, we do definitely need our politicians and lawmakers and all that to do a little bit of a better job on that end, especially because of all these families that were being separated, and just I mean, I don't know much about law, but definitely all these families and immigrants that are coming from all over the world and that are stranded in the border, Mexico, US, um, definitely are going through a hard time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, definitely.
And for sure, we all do thank you and nonprofits that are just like you that are doing the good work and getting hands on and helping on this all these people. We will put all the information on the show notes for sure for the people that would like to donate or volunteer with you guys and everything that you do. So that's thank you, and that's super super amazing. And then
Thanks.
on that note, let's talk about a little bit about your mentors. Who has helped you to be where you are, and how important is mentorship? I know a lot of people, and I say this probably in every interview that I have. Some of people might said, "No, I don't need anyone. I could get there. I could do it by myself," which, they can definitely. It might take them a little bit longer. So, what's your take on mentorship and your own mentors?
Yeah, I it's so important to have that, right? It's so important to have people that you look up to or people that have made a difference in your life. And sometimes you don't even know that they've made a difference in your life until
Yes.
much later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, I wouldn't say it was just one person that changed
Mm-hmm.
everything,
Yeah.
but in high school, I was involved in Model United Nations, and which is like debate, mock debate like the United Nations. We talk about world issues. That really opened my eyes to like what was happening in the world, information that I didn't get
Mm-hmm.
from regular mainstream news. And the teacher there was Mr. Neville.
Yeah.
Um, he wasn't that nice of a person, but he was really dedicated to us. So it's one of those things where we didn't really know what he was doing, for me at least, until
Mm-hmm.
much later. He actually passed away of like skin cancer a while back. But just, reflecting, it's like he really did, he
Mm-hmm.
did change my life. He did change my life and made me open my eyes and then decide like, I think I can I want to work in these issues, something to do with helping people in international um, issues, and also learning how to negotiate,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of that we're debating and getting into groups like the United Nations from different countries. How do you find a resolution from all these people that are different from you, different cultures, and have different policies? So learning how to negotiate, learning how to try to find a resolution, and learning diplomacy instead of this, you know, arguing and fighting and war.
Mm-hmm.
So that um Model Union was a huge influence on me and Mr. Neville. Again, he was kind of a tough guy, but no, I'm so glad he was. So we didn't fool around too much. Another one is my grandma, who lived with us, took care of us, and I think that her commitment to the family,
Mm-hmm.
for her, she came to the US, she couldn't speak English, and she said, I'm going to help. My mom and dad worked every day, even
Mm-hmm.
on the weekends, because once my mom was done from the Monday through Friday, she was helping my dad at the pizza place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we all helped, and my grandma decided she's just going to help with the house. She's going to, change our diapers. She's going to cook all our meals. She's going to clean the house, like, and just do that. And for us, do my, help me with my Chinese homework, because that's the only thing she could do, even though we hated it. But I think commitment and dedication to the family,
Mm-hmm.
and the love that she gave, and the selflessness, that was, um, she's definitely up there, as one of my mentors. And you do want to find, there's always going to be friends or people out there that are kind of giving you tidbits to make you into somebody that you are today, or what you want to be. So it's very important to have the mentors, I think.
Yeah, I love that you said that about your teacher, that at that moment or at that time you didn't see it, um, on like everything, all the all the good things that he was passing on to you. And I think that happens a lot with all of us. I think we go through different people, strangers that either in a good or bad way, they do touch our lives to make a difference. I think
Right.
we all do that, and it's always cool to just take a moment and whatever stage of your life you are, and reflect on like who really has affected my life, who has helped me to be better, who has shown me how maybe not to be in certain way, because as I said, sometimes we have really good people around us and sometimes not the greatest, but they're still affecting us in some way. Have you had anyone
Mhm.
like that you're like, oh, that person I really didn't like, but it really left something for me?
um I don't know if there's anybody who I didn't like, but i I do feel that sometimes your mentors, you think of a mentor as somebody who's, when you think of a mentor, you think somebody
Mm-hmm.
who's maybe wiser, maybe
Mm-hmm.
older, maybe
Yes.
super intelligent, maybe somebody you look up to, and but it may not necessarily be that way. Like, they could actually just be something for you at that particular time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I do it. One of my best friends, Bob Severs, he's a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was working for Alan Diamante, I said, I really think I should just have my own firm, because I'm really good at bringing in business, and, um, it'd probably be really fun. And he said, you know what? I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you open your firm. And he had his own firm, and he just told me, what I needed to do, and all the stuff. And we like went through it. And when I had issues or questions, I asked him, and he was one of my mentors. Like, even though he's not older than me, he doesn't know anything about immigration law. He's probably, he's a little butthead sometimes. Again, he's my, one of my best friends. So it's like, it, but he was there for me at that time. And again, that's what friends are for too, right?
Yeah. Definitely mentors come in different shapes and forms, and
Mm-hmm.
whether you know them, whether family or friends or strangers, um Also, how important do you think is to actually, because I know you talk about generations and how like it was your parents, your grandparents, and you in a same household, how important it's for us to know where we coming from, where, like where our great parents are from, or their life stories.
I think it's incredibly important. If you
Mhm.
have the opportunity, definitely ask the questions, right? You don't have to live with them, but
Mhm.
it's good. It's good to ask. I think one of the things that I do regret is not knowing enough about the story of my grandma and my great grandma and my grandma lived with us.
Wow.
So that's four
Mhm.
generations in one family. I I was young, so I think it's harder to expect me to be so inquisitive and ask, like write a biography or something. But it would really have been nice to have known even more. But when my great grandma, when she lived with us, I mean, she couldn't read or write in any language
Mhm.
because she was born so young, and back, in the old days where women didn't learn how to read or write.
Yeah.
And it's just, but she was able to help deliver babies. Her brother was a physician, and she helped deliver babies. I mean, like, but I do believe it's important because culture is important. Like, we live in the States
Mhm.
where there's so many cultures, everybody's from somewhere. And yes, maybe we all eat hamburgers and steaks and we're all American, of course,
Mhm.
but we're all different. But how? How are we different, but besides our skin color, maybe our accent? But
Mhm.
the culture is so rich that you actually find more similarities in your cultures if you actually knew about it than
Mhm.
differences. I think it actually is a way to bring people together instead of all this racism that's out there, the fighting of us against them, of whatever minorities are taking our jobs, and LGBTQ, the fear and anxiety of the other. If people
Mhm.
actually learned about everybody's cultures, actually find more things in common. So we as people of color need to also know our own culture, right? Like, I was born in the States, but I do know, I try my best to know what the Asian culture is like, what the Chinese American culture is like, what the Chinese culture is like, even though I'm different from people from China. It's
Right.
still good to know where my roots are from.
Mhm.
And so I think it's incredibly important.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely important to know where we come from, how people before us did certain things, and it really brought back to me the memories of, like, we both are dancers. We both love Latin music and salsa and all this. And one thing that it came to mind when you were talking about, the culture and all that, is that in dancing, we're
Mhm,
all dancing. We're
mhm,
we're speaking one language, and it's
mhm,
dance. We don't
mhm.
have to know, Chinese or Spanish or English or nothing. We just do this one thing that we love in harmony, right? And in peace.
Yeah,
That's is something so amazing that I hope everybody, could actually experience that,
that is
where,
so fun.
yeah, where you become
Yes.
just this person
Mhm,
dancing. You become a dancer. You have no race, you have no
mhm.
language, you have no nothing. We're all the same. So it's just like you talking about it, it just really reminded me of how great dancing is in general. Because I mean, we're talking about salsa, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but a lot of Asian communities have the best salsa dancers
Oh
in the
yeah.
world. You know what
Oh
I'm saying?
yeah.
Russians, and I don't know, Indians, and every other culture has like amazing salsa dancers, and they're like world known. So
Yeah, like
it,
Japan too.
yes,
Yeah.
and so it's just like, wow, if we will just really take a step back on this whole nonsense of colored and accents and where you're from, and be like, it's just another person, it's just like me. But anyways,
Awesome.
that for
Love it.
everybody listening, if you have
Yeah.
never gone out salsa dancing, please do it this weekend.
Yeah, you could even learn it on YouTube on your own. Like you can do solo.
Yeah.
I'm doing solo all the time. My husband doesn't dance, so I just dance on my own. I put on the music. What are you gonna do, right? You gotta do something.
Yeah, do it, and you're gonna have some fun. Yes, yes. And then just another question too that comes to mind. I know you were lucky enough and blessed with an amazing background, and your path of success might seem easier for some, like, oh well, she had a good family, they had a job, she went to school, she graduated as an attorney, and she has a family, and it's all good. What will be your message for those that might say, like, I am here not knowing what to do with my life because I had a bad family, I didn't have the chance or the opportunity or the funds to go to school, and that's why I have the life I have.
I know a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of friends who come through from different experiences of life. Um, very not similar to mine, with struggles. And I have seen people do well, and I have seen people not do well, right? We all can only do what we can. But if you want to do well, try and figure out what the challenge is. So, one, health, right? You could be suffering from health issues. Well, of course, you have to heal, right? You're gonna have to get better. How do you do that? Have the support around you. You've mentioned having the mentors. If you're going through struggles with the family and they're not your support system, find your support system, find your friends, and figure out, what do you want to do? Like, what do you actually want to do? Like, try to do what you love. Okay, fine. You want to be an actor. We're in LA. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to be an actor. That's great. But if you are going to, you still have to feed yourself, and you're going to need a job. Do you want to go to school? Go back to school? Do you want, like, depending on, I mean, it's hard for me to put myself in their shoes, obviously, but I do know a lot of people, but really seeking that support is so important. Like, don't feel too proud not to, right? You have, struggles at home. You have to fix them, right? You can't run away from certain things. There's one thing that I did want to mention when you're talking about mentors is, if you don't have a mentor, at least keep good people around you. Try to get rid of the people who are negative, or or bring you down. I think some friends you may have, or you think they're your friends because you've been friends since you were 10 years old or something like that, but they're just not nice to you, they're not good for you. You have to get rid of those people. I think that if you surround yourself, and Alex, you preach this as well, like, you surround yourself with people who are loving and caring, and hopefully they'll be able to help you through your struggles, right? And people help each other. And I'm doing fine right now, and I have been my life, but anything can happen.
Yeah.
And anything can happen to, in an instant. I could lose everything, and I will need that support as well. So it's, people, you just need the people around you so that you can support each other.
Yeah, I think the perspective in those cases is like so important. Just to have a perspective on what is it that you might want, and go towards that goal or that
dream life that you might want. But definitely perspective and keep going. I think it's one of the things that we definitely need as we keep growing, because life happens, as you said. Like you've been blessed, and knock on wood, that will keep and that way. And but yeah, you don't know, you might wake up tomorrow and there's nothing there. and
Absolutely.
and life is still going, right? So it's one of those that whatever happens, we must go on. We must keep on living the best life we can, and I think that's pretty much what life it's all about. Keep on learning, keep on going about it. If we have struggles, keep on trying to resolve everything that's stopping us to live the way we want to live.
I love it.
Well, this has been great. I love that you give us all these great stories, great little gold nuggets right there, and I hope everybody caught those. If anyone wants to join your nonprofit or help you or just connect with you, if you guys, she's an excellent. I always refer anyone to her. She's an excellent immigration an attorney. So if you need any help or any questions, she can help you. Where can they find you?
Well, thank you. So Clark Hill is the law firm that I'm at, and you could find my, Google my name, Angeline Chen, even Angeline Chen Immigration or something like that. You'll find me. The Rise to Reunite, we are on Instagram, and that is at Rise to Reunite _ so at Rise to Reunite _ and DM us if you want to volunteer. And we do little fundraisers here and there. It's, we used to do a lot of in-person events, and but we had to cut that because of the pandemic. But we're still doing online fundraising, and we go down to the border. Pretty soon I'll be doing water drops. So with another nonprofit called Border Angels, and we'll be putting water in the desert at the border, so that when migrants are crossing, they have water, because sometimes they're dehydrated and they literally die in the desert. It's awful. Okay, but it's fun. We keep it positive. The thing with Rise to Reunite, we do try and keep things positive because the news is already depressing enough, right? So, but yeah, that's how you can find us.
Awesome. I will put all her information on the show notes for anyone that wants to get in touch with her. And if you want to know anything more about my show, you can always find me at alexbalgood.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And also, just another little side note, remember my book is out. You can buy it on Amazon. When you buy it and you read it, do leave me a review on it. Comment, DM me if you have any other questions. And let's keep on sharing. And thank you for being here with us today, Angeline.
Oh, thank you, Alex. It's such a pleasure. I honestly, I love what you're doing. And again, I was saying earlier, you exude love and positivity, and I just want to be around you all the time. So thank
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.